DraftKings Fantasy has been an absolute printing press for premium members over the last month or so. We had a $21,000 winning entry. Shortly after that, we had a $10,000 winning entry. I'm getting messages this weekend from Pete. Pete said, you had a first and second place last week. And you know how he knows that? It's because he got first. And the second place person had a We Want Picks logo as their DraftKings Fantasy account icon. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks. And I'm going to break down the entire UFC 319 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and DraftKings Fantasy plays. I opened up with the dramatization of how well things have been going for people. And it is going quite well. And all of these people have full access to everything we offer on our website. One of the tools that they use is the event simulator. The event simulator takes every single fight on the card and it runs them through a series of simulations, 100,000 simulations to be exact. It takes historical DraftKings information, historical grappling stats and striking stats, and it runs those simulations. Not only do you get the winners and the losers, you'll also get projections of, in these 100,000 simulations, this is how many strikes they land. Here's how many DraftKings fantasy points they will score. Then you can use that, click one button, it'll build DraftKings fantasy lineups for you. We also have a DraftKings optimizer. This also builds lineups for you. If I go back to these winning tickets, this gentleman who hit for $10,000 said, I just hit for $10,000 using the DK optimizer. That is this tool right here. And you might be watching this video like, hey, bro, you tall, handsome bro, I am here for the picks. I don't care about DraftKings fantasy. Or you might be watching it saying, I'm interested, but I don't know what the hell the DraftKings Fantasy Optimizer is. Well, good news. We built it for everyone. We have the standard mode, we have advanced options, and we have what we're calling beginner mode. Beginner mode, instead of expecting you to understand all the numbers and how the hell this whole works, it's going to walk you through a series of logical, normal human language questions like, are there any fighters you absolutely do not want in your lineups? If so, uncheck them. Then it's going to say, who are your most confident underdogs? Who are your most confident favorites? And you'll walk through a series of questions, and then it will go ahead and build the DraftKings fantasy lineups for you. All of these tools, 40 other things, including just copy-paste bets and picks and an artificial intelligence, are all available right now. Not just for UFC 319. It is only $10 for an entire month. If you go to WeWantPicks.com, for $10, you instantly unlock everything we offer for an entire month. That gets you UFC 319, UFC Shanghai, UFC Paris, and Noche UFC. One click of the button unlocks all of it. No upsell, no cross-sell, no weird tiers. $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Let's go ahead and break down this card, and it has been a chaotic fight week. We had all the way up to 15 fights on this card. We had 2 Ultimate Fighter finales that were added. We had a Tuesday Night Contender Series guy that was the only one who didn't suck on this week. They moved him to this fight card as well, but then we lost a couple of fights here. We lost one of the Ultimate Fighter finales, and we lost the Bobby Green fight. So now we're down to 13 fights, which is still a decent amount. Let's go ahead and dive our way in. This is a weird fight card with some short notice, some last minute, some step-ups, and we got stuff all over the place. We are going to open up with the Ultimate Fighter finale in Alibi Idris taking on Joseph Morales. Should be a really fun fight, and I am surprised to see that Idris is the $9,400 favorite here because overall on that show, Joseph Morales was the number one sort of draft pick, if you want. He was the overall number one pick, and he's a pretty good fighter. Alibi Idris, I had to break this down blind. We had no betting odds. I had nothing. I broke it down blind. I did end up picking him. And anytime you pick somebody blind and then you see their considerable favorite, and what to me wasn't very obvious, I feel pretty good about myself. I got it right, or at least myself and the greater sportsbook industry seem to have looked at this the same way. Alibi Idris is going to be the pick here, and that's because, yes, he's a proud Kazakhstani, and yes, he fights exactly like one. He's loose on his feet, he's got fast hands, he's comfortable in all positions. He has no problem moving forward, nonstop striking, he spins a little more than you want, he applies that pressure, and if he chooses to wrestle, he's got it in his back pocket. It is a backup plan. He's not coming out here looking to wrestle, but with the wrestling in the back pocket, if things aren't going the way they want to on the feet, he'll shoot a takedown. I trust his takedown defense. Overall, very well-rounded, very good fighter. He is taking on Joseph Morales. Joseph Morales is also pretty tough. Solid wrestler, good grappling. He doesn't desperately shoot takedowns. He'll set some stuff up with striking. If he does get to the legs, he'll elevate. He'll change direction immediately. On the ground, he's got good control. He's got patience. His striking is not great. Like, it's not the best striking you're ever going to see, but he can take a shot. He's tough as hell, and he stays defensively sound. He will bob and weave his way out of some trouble. New matchup, brand new to this fight card. I don't watch The Ultimate Fighter, so any drama in the house, any of that stuff, I am not privy to. I watch the actual fights. I watch the regional fights. I watch the actual fights in the house. And this is a good matchup. This is a fun fight. I am surprised that Alibi's as big of a favorite as he is, but the reality is Alibi should win this fight. My real concern here is that if that dude starts spinning, which he does, if he starts spinning around in these fights, all Joseph has to do is lower his level and take a shot. And even though I trust Alibi's takedown defense, when you're spinning around, it's not quite the same, is it? So I'm going to trust Alibi here. I think the forward pressure striking. I think if Joseph is going to be taking shots, he'll be doing so off of his back foot, which aren't going to be great. And we saw in that Ultimate Fighter semifinal, if you're striking first with Joseph, his head snaps back and he doesn't really love it. Alibi's going to be the pick. As far as lineups are concerned, I don't know if he's going to find a finish. $9,400 is a lot of money to spend when we have other fighters on this card that are much closer to getting finishes, because Alibi might just cruise his way to a win here with more accurate striking, a takedown here or there. So Alibi's going to be the pick. $9,400 seems a bit expensive. We're going to open up the card with Karine Silva taking on Dione Barbosa. Karine Silva is a DraftKings queen. She is just blowing through people. She has 18 wins. 17 of those wins are by finish. Obviously, at the UFC level, she does have quite a few finishes, 3 to be exact. She didn't finish her only decision win in her career. And then she just lost the fight, which was also a decision to Viviane Araújo. She was a massive favorite in that fight, $9,200. And not only did she not win, she didn't do much. She got a takedown, couldn't hang with the striking. The reality is Karine Silva is a grappler. She comes forward, she's aggressive, she rips you to the ground. On the ground, she works a ton of stuff. Like, she is wildly aggressive on the ground hunting for submissions. But obviously, as the level of competition goes up, her finish rate will go down, and I expect that to be the case here as well. Win or lose, I don't see Karine finishing Dione Barbosa, and I also am going to add to that, I think Dione wins. Dione Barbosa is a judoka, meaning she's been practicing judo for a very long time. She's a black belt in judo. I expect her to be able to defend the Karine Silva takedowns, potentially get takedowns of her own, and then stay safe on the ground. I think Dione Barbosa wins this fight. There is going to be some dweeb in the comment section saying, they already fought before, why won't you? Okay, they did already fight. They fought 6 years ago. 6 years ago. You know how long ago that is? In fight work, like that's a lifetime ago. So I don't care. Dione actually won that fight. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. That would be assuming that neither one of these women have evolved in any facet of the game whatsoever. So that's bullshit. I'm throwing that out the window. I don't care about it. I am going to pick Dione, not because she won the first fight. That doesn't matter to me, because I think the judo is good enough, and now the striking has evolved quite a bit. Karine Silva is nasty on the ground. The takedowns aren't great, but she's kind of a brute. I don't think she's going to brute her way to takedowns because of Dione's hips. And Dione's hands are getting better. And I think her jiu-jitsu defense is there. Dione Barbosa is going to be the pick. And these are like enticing at $7,400. All right. Like, let's talk about it. Because even though she's not the highest scorer, 7,700 points against Ernesta Carrot Cake, $7,400 is quite the discount. And she's a good-sized dog, and you're going to need some dogs in your lineup. So we're going to open up with the dog. That takes us to Bryan Battle and Nursulton Ruziboev. Tell you right now, I'm not putting Bryan Battle in my lineup. Let's look at his last fight. He beat Randy Brown. That was a bullshit decision. He didn't win that fight, but they gave it to him anyway. So he got the 30-point win bonus on top of whatever he earned along the way, and he still only scored 77 points. And that's because if Bryan Battle can't finish you, he doesn't score well. He just doesn't score that well. Obviously, he's got 87 points there with the finish or the decision win over Tresean Gore, but he landed a gazillion strikes, had a takedown, and a good amount of control time. I do not see that happening here. Bryan Battle is obviously an aggressive guy. He's got good striking. He had that beautiful head kick a couple fights ago. He's got good grappling. He's good everywhere. He was 300 pounds when he started his career. He got on his fitness journey. It toughened him up. He went all the way down to 170, and his fat ass missed weight against Randy Brown. And now, not only is he fighting at 185 pounds, he's fighting a 6'5" beast at 185 pounds. I don't know why he's the favorite. I'm surprised this isn't like even. But not only is he a favorite, he's a good size favorite here. Nursulton Ruziboev in the UFC has been lights out with the striking. Lights out with the striking, right? Beautiful power, Diego Ferreira. Beautiful power, SD Dumas. He does lose to Buckley. That's short notice. That's short notice. And not like took the fight in a week, but short notice like, 4 weeks? He went from fighting at 185 down to 170 on a couple of weeks' notice. Short notice. Then he beats Eric McConaughey in the second round. And then obviously most recently back in May, Dustin Stoltzfus. He had one takedown, a couple of reversals there. Didn't score a ton of points at 69. But Dustin's more dangerous than Bryan Battle is. He's not more durable, but he's more dangerous than Bryan Battle is. I think Nursulton Ruziboev sort of runs through Bryan Battle here. And I don't think it's going to be like one of these quick knockouts or anything like that. But I do think he's going to be safe the whole fight. I don't think he's going to be any danger. He's not going to be held against the cage like Bryan Battle likes to do. We have a giant size difference between these two gentlemen. Dustin Stoltzfus is big as shit, and he's jacked and he's strong. Bryan Battle doesn't have that. Not in this matchup. So not only is Nursulton the pick, I'm liking him at $7,600. Good dog money here, which opens up the rest of our slate. We can just go favorite heavy if that's what we choose. Then we have Edson Barbosa, and he is taking on Drakkar Klose. This is a fight where the odds completely flip-flop. Drakkar Klose was a big favorite. They've swung the other way. Now Edson Barbosa is sort of a medium-sized favorite. Edson Barbosa, at this point in his career, is a little older. He's on the back nine, but he's got great striking. He's fast as hell. He's very technical. He's unbelievably strong. Decent wrestling, good submissions. He's good at everything. He's good at absolutely everything. He is coming off this main event loss to Lerone Murphy, but let's look at his losses. Oh, Lerone Murphy. You lost to Bryce Mitchell, Giga Chikadze, Dan Ige, Felder, Justin Gaethje. Like, he's bounced up and down between weight classes, between featherweight and lightweight. This is at lightweight. At this point in his career, at his age, being at lightweight is going to make more sense. He is a considerable favorite here. Nothing tremendous, but minus 150, minus 160 betting odds-wise. If we take a look at his opponent, Drakkar Klose. Drakkar Klose is a good fighter. Drakkar Klose is also not very young. The first thing anybody's going to say here when they're picking against Edson is he's old. He's old. He's old. He's not young. You're right. He is old. Drakkar Klose is 37. Drakkar Klose is no spring chicken. And not only is he 37, he's been getting rocked and wobbled left and right. This dude's like on his chicken legs in half his fights. He got finished by Joel Alvarez. Silva had him rocked and wobbled. He beat Joe Solecki because he dumped that dude. I mean, it wasn't quite the power bomb we saw last week, but it was like an armbar kaboom to the head. Drakkar Klose started his career as a wrestler, added some striking, and now he's a well-rounded guy. He's a good fighter. He's well-rounded. He's strong. He's fast. He's got all the skills. I just think Edson Barbosa is too good. And as long as Edson isn't in like the same camp as Jose Aldo, where they've been lying about their age for 20 years, and he's not 38, he's actually 48, we should be good. I think Edson Barbosa wins this fight. I don't know if he's going to finish Drakkar. That's where it gets tricky because Edson certainly can finish people. Go back and watch his finish over Shane Burgos. All-time finish. And Drakkar's been getting rocked and wobbled. But I'm probably going to leave this fight out of my slate for now because it is a little closer than the odds and the pricing would indicate. Then we have Chase Hooper taking on Alexander Hernandez. Your take on this fight and my take on this fight might be a little different. I'm going to pick Chase Hooper, but not by the margin that they're telling us we should be picking him. Chase Hooper started his career as a 145-pound jiu-jitsu nerd. He leaned into the nerd thing. Unassuming, lanky, a weenie, if you will, a weenie. But he always had great jiu-jitsu. He wasn't a dog. He couldn't take a beating. His striking sucked. His takedown sucked. But now he's evolved. He's 28. He's older. He's filling out. He's thicker. If you were a pedo and you were keeping an eye on him, he's gone. That's a man now. That's not a boy anymore. I'm not interested. That's a pedo talking, not me. The reality is Chase Hooper is now sort of becoming the fighter that he thought he was. His takedowns are good. He's shooting real doubles. He's got decent hands. He's filled out. He's not weak. He's confident as ever on the ground. He's funny on the microphone. Chase Hooper's sort of turning into a viable, genuine fighter here, and he's undefeated at lightweight. He's coming off this pretty straightforward win over Jim Miller, who's supposed to be a high-level black belt. Obviously, before that, he smokes Clay Guida. That doesn't even count. The Vyacheslav Borshchev fight was his coming-out party, because that's when that's when Chase Hooper showed the striking. He dropped Vyacheslav in that fight. So you're going to see, oh, he won by sub. No, he dropped him and then pounced. Chase looked fantastic in that fight. The Jordan Levitt fight, I mean, that is what it is, right? Jordan Levitt's also a jiu-jitsu nerd, so they kind of cancel each other out. But after he got bullied and just forward pressure beat up by Steve Garcia, that was just a straight-up bullying. He couldn't handle it. Since then, he's really put it together. I think that was honestly like a wake-up call. Like, shit, I need to lift weights and actually take this whole fighting career seriously. He's taking on Alexander Hernandez. I started by saying my take on this is going to be a little different. That's because Chase Hooper is the biggest favorite on the card if you're not factoring in these last-minute 3 fights they just threw up. That dude that fought on Tuesday is technically the biggest favorite on the card at minus 800. But if we're talking about the core card that we started with, Chase Hooper is the biggest favorite at minus 330, 3-1. But I'm surprised it's that wide because he's fighting Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez is inconsistent. He's not a guy you can rely on. He's not huge. He's not small, so he bounces between weight classes. And he's had a hard time sort of finding his footing at featherweight or lightweight. But he is fast. He hits hard. He's well-rounded. He's athletic as shit, and he's tough. He's a dog. He's not a quitter. Alexander Hernandez has a decent matchup here because I imagine Chase Hooper is going to need to get this to the ground. I think Alexander Hernandez is going to be the better striker. But he's athletic. He's fast. He's got good takedown defense. I think this fight goes to a decision. I think Alexander Hernandez has a good amount of success here. Maybe wins an entire round. So I'm not going to have Chase Hooper in my lineup. But I might be made to be a fool. He might just run right through it. He might get the takedowns, complete control, maybe find a submission. If not, he might just backpack him the whole 15 minutes. I don't think it's going to be quite that easy. I've got a lot of respect for Alexander Hernandez, what he's able to do. He's another guy, look at his losses. Even in the Damon Jackson loss. First of all, Damon's big. Damon's a very, very good wrestler, not just an okay wrestler. Alexander Hernandez had him dropped in the third and almost finished him. Bill Algeo, yeah, that's not the best loss. But this is why weight classes matter and the bouncing up and down and moving all around. Do the hokey pokey. That takes us to Lupita Godinez and Jessica Andrade. This is another take you guys aren't going to like. I get it. I hear it. Oh, yeah, how could you be confident in Lupi? Being confident in Lupi's ridiculous. Lupi's let us down. She has let us down. And some of the dumbest shit we've ever seen in our life. She could have beaten Verna Jandiroba. She made it was 1-1. She pulls guard. She did a couple of stupid things. But she was very clearly a good fighter in that fight. Defended a ton of takedowns. Had great striking. Had a nice reversal on the ground. But then she would pull guard. Like an asshole. Even the Mackenzie Dern fight. Mackenzie looked really good in that fight. So I don't want to take too much away from Mackenzie and blame it on Lupi. But that was very competitive. A couple of different decisions. It's a clear win for Lupi. A lot of people think Lupi did win that fight. She's a high-level wrestler. She's got high-level striking. She absolutely has dog in her. She'll move forward. She'll get in your face. She makes dumb decisions, and she bleeds. Those are the two biggest issues. The bleeding can be a problem in this fight. The wearing of damage can be the problem. But if she comes out here and just shoots the takedowns, her sister is an Olympic wrestler, and they train together and have been for an extremely long time. If she just comes out and wrestles, she should be able to have a ton of success because while Jessica Andrade is a former world champion, and while she is physically imposing and quite literally won the belt by picking up Rose Namajunas and dumping her on her head, she has no takedown defense. Her takedown defense absolutely sucks. And anybody who's able to take her down beats the shit out of her. We just saw it with Jasmine Jasudavicius. It was easy as hell. It was very easy. Tatiana Suarez ran through her. When she beat Mackenzie Dern, I was straight up shocked. I was shocked, but then it's oh, that's right. Mackenzie Dern has the shittiest takedowns we've ever seen in our life. So if you're going to stand there and go punch for punch with Jessica Andrade, it might be a tough night. So hopefully, Lupi doesn't do the insane, ridiculous crap that she has done before. I am confident in her. Her decision-making skills, For the love of God, I hope they show up. I'll probably have some Lupita in my lineup because if she wrestles, she's going to score a gazillion points. Then we have Gerald Meerschaert taking on Michal Oleksiejczuk. This is striker versus grappler, and I am shocked 10 ways to Sunday that we have a big favorite in this fight. Neither one of these guys are very good. One of them's a good grappler, the other one's a good striker, and both of them suck at the other thing. Gerald Meerschaert's not a very good striker. He's got random power, but he's 185 pounds. That's what happens with big dudes. He's a very, very, very good grappler. Edmund Shabazian fight, for example, he just took the beating of his life. Edmund makes a dumbass mistake. They end up on the ground. Gerald submits him. Boom, done. And if you look at his losses, they're not the worst. Like, it's easy to say this guy sucks, but, he lost to Joe Pyfer, who, you can't stand him because his personality sucks. But the dude hits hard. He lost to Andre Petrosky. All right, that was a decision. He couldn't get the takedowns because Andre's a very good wrestler. He loses to Renier de Rider. That guy might be a champion by the end of the year. Brad Tavares, former just total staple, former genuine contender in this weight class. Again, a guy with good power, good takedown defense. So his losses are credible. The wins are against people who suck on the ground. And guess who sucks on the ground? Michal Oleksiejczuk sucks on the ground. This guy sucks on the ground. He's got great striking. He's got good power. He's fast. He's accurate. He will absolutely put your lights out with one, but he sucks on the ground. He sucks on the ground. I can't say that. And the Pereira fight, Michel Pereira mollywopped this dude. So this one's kind of tough. The Kevin Holland fight, bang, submitted. If you go through the history, boom, Caio Borralho submits him. Obviously, Caio's very good. Dustin Jacoby just outstrikes him. Jimmy Crute subs him. Ovince St. Preux subs him. If you can get him to the ground, you could absolutely finish him. So the question in this fight is going to be, who gets to do what they want to do? Does Michal keep it standing? And does he lights out a somewhat chinny Gerald Meerschaert? Does Gerald... Okay, full stroke. I'm getting so wound up. The blood fucked around in my brain. I had a full stroke right there. Does Gerald Meerschaert, an insane name to get hung up on, does Gerald Meerschaert get the fight to the ground? I'm going to be honest. I would not be surprised by either one of these things. So if you think Michal wins, which I do, probably worth it in your lineup because he's not going to win a pitter-patter decision. He's going to put the dude's lights out. If you think Gerald Meerschaert wins, he's going to submit Michal. If you're only building one single entry, probably Michal because Gerald has looked kind of shitty lately. But if you're going to build multiple entries, I would have exposure to both. Go back to that optimizer right here. Outside of standard mode, if you're using regular mode, I would adjust the minimum exposure. I would force 50-50 if you're building multiple lineups because those dudes, whichever one wins, will likely be in an optimal lineup. Then we have another new fight on the card. This is basically replacing Bobby Green and Diego Ferreira because this moved into that featured prelim slot. And it should be an overall very fun fight. We've got Tuesday Night Contender Series superstar. And I'm saying that sarcastically. The reason this guy is so hyped right now is because he was the only person on Tuesday that wasn't an absolute bum clown shoe. But we have Baysangur Susurkaev. I mean, I know with 100% certainty that is not how you say that name, but his name is so ridiculous. They don't even have it. It's just the first letter and then the last name on the screen here. So relax, you'll get over it. The reality is he did shine just 4 days ago on Tuesday Night Contender Series. He fought 4 days ago. I cannot stress this enough. He wasn't booked on the Contender Series and then they moved him. He fought. He won. And then they said, you want to fight again in 4 days? This is 2020 Hamzat style turnaround. He's an exciting fighter. We saw that, obviously, a few days ago. He's a dangerous striker. He's got power everywhere, some flashy techniques. He'll jump, he'll spin, he will land comfortably. Takedown defense is solid, and his confidence is absolutely insane. He did just win the Contender Series. He will be fighting on Saturday. I don't love the short notice turnaround, but we'll talk about that in a second. Overall, flashy striker, ton of power, unbelievable confidence, and good takedown defense. So we're all understanding why he's $9,600 right now. He is taking on UFC newcomer Eric Nolan. Eric Nolan is a welterweight. He's not a middleweight. The fight's at middleweight, but Eric Nolan is a welterweight. But because he's stepping up on 4 days' notice, it's going to be up in weight. He's not a small guy. He's over 6 feet tall. This is his UFC debut on short notice, as I mentioned. You can imagine where this is going, where they just booked this last minute and it wasn't to showcase Eric Nolan. But the reality is he's a well-rounded guy. He can strike, he can grapple, he does a good job pressing forward. He does a good job with jabs, high kicks. He maintains his defense. He can be low volume at times and he can ball up when offense comes his way, like literally just ball up in the pocket there. But the reality is he's decent. He avoids chaos. He has big power in his hands. He has no problem grappling or striking. He'll make the adjustments. And listen, the kid should win, not Eric Nolan, the fancy one that the UFC is trying to push. Susurkaev, again, butchered it. He should win. He should absolutely win. He's got power. He's flashy. He's got all the tools. There are two things that I do not like about him. Not his personality, fight-wise, or this matchup. First, this is an insanely fast turnaround. This isn't a week after a canceled fight. This isn't 2 weeks after an easy win. This is 4 days. Not in the same state. It's not like this fight's in Las Vegas. He won on Tuesday and they're like, yo, stick around. You didn't take much damage. No. He's got to fly to Chicago. And yeah, it's not crazy to go from Vegas to Chicago. I understand. But the reality is he cut all the weight. He made the middleweight limit. He got into this fight. He wasn't unscathed in that fight. He got hit. He got into the fight. He wins the fight. Had to have gone out celebrating. That dude had to have had a beer. Had to have. Couple of drinks, nice fat burger, and then they're like, you want to fight Saturday? And he said, of course. And I was immediately like, oh, fuck. Got to cut the weight. Deal with the damage that he just absorbed. Full adrenaline dump. Fly to Chicago. Go through all that stuff. I hate how quick that turnaround is. I hate the pressure. You went from Contender Series, which is regional MMA, no bones about it, to the biggest pay-per-view we've had arguably all year. And the second thing I don't like about this matchup, he is hittable. He's hittable. He's not untouchable. That dude is hittable. And if you watch that Tuesday fight, yeah, he won with had a beautiful flying knee, unbelievable teep. It was a flashy, it was pretty, but he got cracked a bunch. More than he should have in a fight that was that short. So those two things worry me a little bit. I get that he's a young stud. I get that he was eating those shots. He wasn't phased. He was eating them. And he should win here. So he's going to be the pick. And frankly, he's probably good for your lineup because I think he can find a finish. But I don't love the turnaround. It is quick. It's very quick. It's not nothing. Like, think about what you put your body through training for a fight. You're already a little banged up. Then you get into the actual fight. You don't leave completely unscathed and then immediately do it again in 4 days. It's not 1996 all over again. These fighters are not prepared to fight multiple times that quickly. So I am picking Susurkaev. I'm just putting out a little PSA, a little nervous Ange energy to have you second guessing a little bit. He's going to be the pick I'll probably have in my lineup. Then we have Kai Asakura and Tim Elliott on the main card. Listen, I understand the love for Kai Asakura. I get it. If you go back to his ONE FC days and watch the tape, he's a very good striker. He hits incredibly hard. He's got great range management. He's got cardio. He's got a pace. Great striker. I get it. I get it. He beat Manel Kopp. Granted, different rules, different environment, other side of the world, but sure, he beats Manel Kopp. The problem is, in order for him to be worth this money, we have to know with 100% certainty that he's going to avoid being taken down. And I don't know, because our only sample size, there wasn't really a lot of anti-grappling going on in his previous promotion. So our only real sample size of can this guy defend takedowns is Alexandre Pantoja. And that's not really, if you're a scientist or you're doing any sort of double-blind study to see if Kai Asakura's takedown defense is any good, you can't use only a world champion as your only data point. That's not really, we need to see him fight a bum loser. We need to fight a world champion and then somewhere middle of the road and then average out the takedown defense, see what happened there. And then we're like, yeah, he can defend, he can't defend. But no, we only have a world champion UFC debut to know if he's got takedown defense. And the reason I'm saying he's going to need takedown defense is he's fighting Tim Elliott. While this dude has been tweeting some insane shit this week, and he looks homeless and his teeth are fucked up, Tim Elliott has got great wrestling. He can grind. He's a good fighter. Tim Elliott is active. Tim Elliott gets in your face. He shoots takedowns. He's busy, and he's not chinny. If you run through his fight history, yeah, he's got the losses on here, but he's not a chinny guy. He lost to AJ Dodson. Okay, That guy was spectacular, wildly athletic. Watch the flips and swirls he does. I have no fucking clue who Bogatunov is, but I know Joseph Benavidez. Oh, he lost to one of the best fighters of all time, Demetrius Johnson. Like, he's got quite a history here. Brandon Royval, Askarov, Figueiredo. He's beating the people he should beat. He's losing to very, very good people. Problem is, though, he hasn't fought in almost 2 years. He hasn't fought in 20 months. That is a problem. So now we have a weird fight where the guy that we don't know if he can defend takedowns, a guy that needs takedowns, but he hasn't fought in 20 months. I'm probably going to leave this off lineups, but I went ahead, I put my nuts on the table, or what's left of them, and I picked Tim Elliott. Because I'm like, if I have to look at this objectively, I have a guy outside of the UFC who came into the UFC, lost in his debut, and is now yet again a tremendous favorite against a grindy wrestler with a good chin. If Tim Elliott was some like chinny bitch, it would be, if he was Gerald Meerschaert but small, it would be different because then he would be desperate to get it. But he can take some shots while coming for those takedowns. So I'm going to pick Tim, but I don't like the layoff. I don't like the age. He's 38, so I'm going to leave it alone. Too many unknowns in this fight, so I'm going to leave it out of, what I got going on as far as DraftKings lineups are concerned. But pick-wise, I'm leaning Tim Elliott. Then we have Jared Cannonier, and he's taking on MVP. Jared Cannonier is a very good fighter. The problem is he's old. And as he's getting older, he's getting even slower. He was never very fast, but now he's even slower. And his chin is starting to wobble. Gregory Rodriguez had that guy almost finished. Kyle Barallo had him almost finished. Imavov did finish him. I mean, he's getting rocked, wobbled in every fight that he's been in these last couple of years. And that's because he is 41 years old. He's a well-rounded guy. He's got plenty of finishes. He's got power. He'll snatch your neck up when he can. And he's got a ton of cardio. Like, he works his ass off. But it doesn't matter how hard you work. Father time comes for everybody, including your chin. And he's going to need his chin because he's taking on MVP. Michael Venom Page is an absolute sniper. This guy is an unbelievable striker. His in and out is insane. He's got that long karate style. He'll cover 6 feet of ground like that. Go watch his UFC debut against Kevin Holland. What Michael Page is able to do, and he's not very young either, he's about 37. What he's able to do is absolutely incredible. Think Wonder Boy, but 5 times faster and way more dangerous. And we haven't quite seen the spectacularness yet from him, other than the Holland fight. He had that spinning back elbow. But go look at his fight versus Cyborg. He dented that dude's skull. I don't remember the guy's name where he hit his knee. He blew his kneecap out. Like, Michael Venom Page is no joke on the feet. Even if he can't finish a now chinny Jared Cannonier, I do think he's going to be too fast, too mobile to get held against the cage or held down. So the reality is, Michael Venom Page is the pick. I think he's just faster, cleaner, all those things. He is going to be in my lineup. $8,700 feels affordable. I mean, this feels like a great matchup for him. You got an older guy who's not as fast. I mean, that seems quite literally perfect. But I get the people who are concerned about him being held against the cage, held down. Because people are like, oh, Ian Gary took him down. That's how Ian Gary... First of all, he was tagging Ian Gary up on the feet. He was beating Ian Gary's ass on the feet, which is why Ian had to turn into a wrestler. And yeah, Ian's not a great grappler, and he was able to out-grapple MVP. But the reality is, Ian's not really a grappler. So MVP wasn't quite expecting that. And because Ian is a good striker, he can set up the takedowns. Jared Cannonier doesn't have this beautiful, crisp, fluid striking to distract MVP and set something up. He's just going to rush forward like this. And a forward rush like this is perfect for MVP to just spin off. So I like him to win. I'm picking him to win. I'm pretty confident there. Another fight that's going to get a little tricky is Carlos Prates versus Jeffrey Neal. And he spells Jeff with a G, so you know, serious business. Carlos Prates, another very, very good striker. Problem is, he is a little one-dimensional. There's not a lot of anything else, just striking. But he is accurate. He hits hard. He hits a flow state. He doesn't rush anything. He doesn't force anything. He is able to absolutely put people's lights out. We saw it in the Jing Lang fight. We saw it in the Radke fight. That was a body shot. The Trevin Giles fight was his UFC debut, and my notes in that fight were do nothing pussy who landed a big shot. The pussy was a bit of an exaggeration. But he didn't do anything. That whole first round, he did nothing because he doesn't force anything. And then the second round, very different, found this spot, got it done. And he is just knocking these fools out. And it's easy to say, well, he hasn't fought anybody that good. And you're right, he really didn't. I mean, Trevin Giles is decent. Charlie Radke's probably not. Jing Lang was known as insanely durable, never knocked out. Neil Magny's a little past his expiration date, but still pretty tough. He blew through them. But then he fought Ian Gary. Ian Gary beat him. So you left that fight thinking, well, Carlos Prates isn't as good as you expect him to be, but he's still good. And you also left it being he's better than I expected him to be, because we got into the 5th round of that fight and he was losing. And he almost finished Ian Gary. He had that dude in a bad way. And if he had this much cardio, if he skipped 2 cigarettes in the last week, he would have landed a few more punches. That referee probably would have stopped it. Carlos Prates, very good, very dangerous, never quits on himself. Taking on Jeffrey Neal. Jeffrey Neal, he's coming off this win over Rafael Dos Anjos. That was a knee injury, a TKO knee injury. So you can't really watch that and be like, dude, he finished. No, he didn't really finish him. There was an injury there. But before that, his losses are all good. Shavkat subs him late. He's the only person that took Shavkat that far into a fight up until that point. Ian Gary, full-blown decision. That's what makes this fight a little tricky. A lot of people think that Carlos Prates is just going to come in here and beat the brakes off Jeff Neal, but Jeff Neal's not a guy that you just beat the brakes off. He's not a guy that gets finished left and right. He's not a guy that's chinny. He's tough. He's durable. He can grapple. He can strike. He can do a lot of different things. I am going to pick Carlos Prates. I'm going to avoid them both in my DraftKings fantasy lineup. There's just a little bit too much risk because Carlos Prates doesn't do enough. And if he does take his time a little too long and Jeff steals a minute here, steals a minute there, then it could be a little tricky. Then we have Lerone Murphy in the co-main event against Aaron Pico. This is another fight that everybody's a genius, right? I understand that Lerone Murphy is a good fighter. I understand Lerone Murphy has fought the better slate of fighter. I mean, there's some good wins in here. Dan Ige doesn't suck. Did Dan Ige have Lerone Murphy almost knocked out in the first round? He sure did. He sure did. Josh Emmett doesn't suck. Is Josh Emmett 40 years old? Just sort of spamming overhands? Yeah, he is. He kind of is. Before that, a couple decent wins. Amir Khani, great win. No longer employed, but good win. Kulibao, awesome win. And there's some sarcasm here. The win over Emmett and the win over Ige, the win over Barboza, those are 3 quality wins with no sarcasm. And that's shown that Lerone Murphy has earned this undefeated status. He's not just gifted some fake undefeated record. He has fought some very good people. Josh Emmett was able to take him down 3 times, but Lerone Murphy defended a whole bunch of takedowns. Lerone Murphy's a very good distance striker. He likes to manage range. He'll pop in and out. He's not going to take too many risks. There's not really a ton of power there either, but he's a good range fighter, and he doesn't panic. He gets taken down, he regroups, he gets back up. When he was rocked by Ige, when he was rocked by Barboza, he regrouped in the corner, got back after it, went on to have some success. Aaron Pico, no picture, no stats. It's his UFC debut. He is a former Bellator standout. And I know, our asses are all chapped from patchy mix. I get it. But the reality is, Aaron Pico is not patchy mix. Aaron Pico has been competing his entire life. He left high school to go try out for the Olympics. He made it to the Olympic trial finals in America, not some bullshit country. The Olympic trial finals, I said that wrong, but you get where I'm going. It was 1-1. He ends up giving up a point, loses. But this is a high school kid in the finals of the Olympic trials. From that point, he said, I'm going to pursue professional MMA. Kind of a mistake at that point, honestly, because he had been training striking his whole life. He had been wrestling his whole life. So he had all the skills, but it was a little too much too soon. He has 4 losses on his record. 1's an injury. The other 3 are valid. And it was just a little too much too soon. But now here he is, a full-grown man with phenomenal wrestling, insane work ethic, insane cardio, unbelievable power in his hands. I think he wins this fight. If there's any chance for a finish, it's on the Pico side. Lerone Murphy's not finishing anybody. If Pico decides to wrestle, which Josh Emmett did, then he can score a ton of points. He also has power in his hands. I think not only does Pico win this fight, I think he scores a ton of points. I do not think this is a back and forth, drag him out war. I think Pico either has a lot of success with the hands or he's going to wrestle his ass off. And in both of those situations, I think he puts up numbers. I'm going to have him in my lineup. I get it. I know all your talking points. Who has he beat? His opponents all suck. He's been finished before. Lerone Murphy's good. I get it. I see that. I get it. Everybody from Bellator sucks. I can't trust no Bellator fighter. I get it. But you same people are picking MVP, so what the fuck? Oh, you could trust that Bellator fighter. Sounds like reverse racism to me. Then we have the main event of the evening. We have Khamzat Chimaev taking on Dricus du Plessis. Khamzat Chimaev, we've talked about this guy a million times over, and we still don't know that much about him. When he popped onto the scene during peak COVID, he fought back-to-back. He was running through human beings. It was absolutely astonishing. Let's take a look here. He fought on 715 and 725. Just bang, bang. And the total combined, like he just ran through these people. Then he goes up to middleweight. He fights Gerald Meerschaert 3 times in a 2-month span. Then all of a sudden, pace slows down a little bit. But he shows up. He smokes Xing Lang. Pace slows down a little bit. He shows up. Competitive fight with Gilbert Burns. The number one thing that people say when they say Khamzat's going to lose this fight is, oh, Gilbert Burns. He was in a lot of trouble with Gilbert Burns. First of all, that was Gilbert Burns 3.5 years ago. Second of all, that was at 170 pounds. He was cutting way too much weight. So yeah, he got tired. But he won that fight. He beat Gilbert Burns. Was he tired? Yeah. Was he sloppy? Yes, he was. But he won that fight. Smokes Kevin Holland after missing weight. The other fight that people like to cite is the Usman fight. Oh, he barely beats Kamaru Usman. And he was going to lose that fight if it was 5 rounds. Yeah, but it wasn't 5 rounds, was it? It was a 3-round fight. And it was short notice. It was short notice for Usman. But Khamzat had a switcherino of an opponent. He went from a blown up Paulo Costa who doesn't wrestle to one of the best welterweights of all time, who's big, dominates the first round. I mean, that's the closest to, I mean, he beat the shit grappling out of Kamaru Usman on that first round. Second round, not quite the same thing, but pretty solid second round. Third round, completely gassed. He's getting pushed around. But if that was a 5-round fight, maybe the pace is a little different. Maybe he doesn't take the round off. He knew he banked 2. It's hard to look at that and say, but if there were 2 more, well, there weren't 2 more rounds. So he wins that fight. And then he takes Robert Whittaker's teeth, shoves them all the way down his throat. Khamzat Chimaev is an absolute savage beast. And so is Dricus du Plessis. That's why this main event is so spectacular. We don't know what's going to happen. Dricus du Plessis is a straight up brute. An absolute brute. And he's got some decent wins. He also beats Trevin Giles. He beats Brad Tavares. The Darren Till fight is really when we were like, this guy fucking sucks. Oh my God, this guy's terrible. He was taken down by Darren Till. It was some of the sloppiest shit we've ever seen in our life. But then he got surgery. I don't know if his nose was crooked. There was some reason he couldn't breathe. He got surgery. Now all of a sudden he can breathe. He beats a chinny old Derek Brunson. He mollywops Robert Whittaker. That is when I turned and was like, oh, this guy doesn't suck. That's when I turned. I was there live, and I was shocked. He beats Robert Whittaker, beats Sean Strickland in a close fight, but I thought he won. Strickland fans didn't. Smokes Adesanya, smokes Whittaker or Strickland the second time. And when I say smokes, like, it was just a much more straightforward win. You can see in the first fight he had 6 takedowns. He was a little bloody. In the second fight, he didn't even need it. Just the forward pressure striking was enough. He didn't even need all those takedowns. So Dricus is a guy that has cardio. He's got grit. He's got grind. He can wrestle. He can strike. He can grapple. Khamzat Chimaev, a phenomenal wrestler that we've seen power in the hands, but we don't quite know how good he is or is not yet, because he's either destroying people immediately or ending up in a kind of close fight with some weird caveats. I personally am on the Khamzat side. I think if he gets Dricus to the ground, Dricus isn't just popping back up. I think Khamzat Chimaev on the ground is next level disgusting, and I think he's going to win. I will be rooting for Dricus. I think it's better for Dricus to win because he's just so damn entertaining. He's active. This will be his second fight this year. He fought twice last year, 2 times in 2023, 2 times in 2022. You want your champs fighting twice a year. Khamzat Chimaev is like a full year off, 2 years off, full year off. So I'm rooting for Dricus, but I think Khamzat's going to get this done. Whoever you think wins, throw him in your lineup. DDP at $7,300, that's absolutely insane. He was $7,100 against Robert Whittaker, scores 114 points. He was an underdog again against Strickland, wins that fight. He was an underdog again against Adesanya, wins that fight. Finally a favorite in his last fight. I'm picking Khamzat. You guys pick your side. I'm not going to argue that to the death because, frankly, there's a valid argument to be made in every single aspect of that fight. Guys, that's the breakdown. Check out the wins. These are not an accident. These are real people. Go hit them up. This is not an accident. The people that have gone to our website, wewantpicks.com, and used these tools have made some money. Now, is it a guarantee? Of course not. But for $10, and you have access to all of these tools, and if you use the tools appropriately, and you make a couple decisions, you absolutely could have some wild success. And it's not just an optimizer and a simulator. We have picks, we have bets, we have everything. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. At the top, it's only $10 for an entire month's worth of access. There are other products like this on the market. Go look up SaberSim. It's an event simulator. It's a fight simulator, just like this one. It's actually not as good because ours will show you significant strike averages through the simulations and all that stuff. They charge $300 a month. Go to Roto Grinders, see what they charge. $60 a month just for MMA. 60. That's 6 months worth of premium membership. It's $10 a month at WeWantPicks.com. We're just a couple of boys trying to live out our dream. $10 a month. If you want to pay for a whole year, it's $100. You want lifetime, it's $300. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Good luck this week, and I am very, very, very excited for this main event. This is one of the best fight cards of the year. Top to bottom, we've had spectacular fights. The main event is unbelievable. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're as excited as I am.